Okay, so two things I've learned from TikTok this week. One, if you are living platonically with someone, so then you can share the benefits of having a one bedroom apartment. It is called an inflationship. And then if you can only make 11 cupcakes because of shrinkflation, it is now called a corporate dozen. Spread the word.
Hello everyone, it's Emmanuel Cooke. Today we will be reacting to a new video, and I hope that you guys enjoy the video.
As quiet as it's kept, y'all don't really want a relationship.
You damn right. I want a combined income, okay? Because I want a nice apartment, but these goddamn apartments in DC that I want parking that costs $300 a month. The one I just left was $325. When I walked in the lobby, I gagged. And then when I heard the price of the parking, I gagged again. I almost died.
We are dead ass living in a time where it's, inflation is so damn high. Y'all got a couple standing relationships that fucking hate each other. Just so they won't have to pay them bills by their damn self. I legit know somebody right now. Her and her boyfriend have been broken up for at least, I believe, almost 2 years now. And they still live with each other. They sleep in separate rooms and every motherfucking thing. But because of the fact that cost of living is so fucking high right now, they literally stay with each other just so they can make sure they stay above water. And they fucking hate one another. Literally, I was over her fucking house and he was walking past going to get something out the fucking refrigerator. Y'all, all I could just see is just her looking at him and her like being glaring at him and shit. As soon as he walked upstairs, she was like, I hate everything about this bitch. I just don't understand why we gotta live like this. And then to make it so funny is like when he was walking past, I feel like he was like antagonizing her like on purpose because he was walking past like extra slow, sliding his house shoes and shit across the damn floor. She was so fucking mad. I'm like, why you just won't, move out and get your own crib? And she like, you know how much a motherfucking one bedroom on the north side costs Chicago? Girl, I'm not finna pay that shit. I'm like, so you just gonna sit here and be miserable? Like, just move out, bro. She like, I'm not moving out. I'm not doing that shit. I'm like, well, just get a roommate then. She's like, motherfuckers be weird as hell. I'm not finna be moving in with nobody I don't fucking know. I'm like, what? So she would literally rather stay in an apartment situation with somebody that she absolutely hates, is not a relationship with anymore, just because of the simple fact that she actually knows him and she's comfortable being there, but she absolutely fucking hates him. Child, this shit's ghetto. It's ghetto.
No.
Then yes, we are in a day and age where breaking up with someone is a luxury. But some of you lot are in the dating stage. You don't even know this person well enough, and you are now sharing a lifestyle with them. And now you don't even have the luxury of breaking up with someone, because that is what we're looking at stats wise. If people are living with people that they don't even want to be with because of the cost of living crisis.
God damn!
I feel like everyone talks about the lifestyle inflation of when you get like a salary increase and you like match your lifestyle to it, but I don't feel like anyone really talks about the lifestyle inflation of going from being single, like especially in your late 20s, I don't know why it felt really different then, to in a relationship with someone that earns more money than you and is also really generous, because I now feel like I live to Pete's salary. It's not even like my own salary, so my lifestyle's inflated, but not for my own merit. And like, I don't know if other people have experienced like this style of lifestyle inflation, because like especially if you're on like a kind of like significantly lower wage than him, like we were when we first met, we've kind of evened out now, but like my food shopping habits changed drastically, like especially when we moved in together. The things like we do changed because like he would sub me a lot for things, or still does sub me a lot for things. But that level of lifestyle inflation, have you ever like noticed it in your relationship when you've got into like a newer relationship and like your finances are different, and if so, like what are we meant to do about it? Do we just roll with it, or should I be a bit more conscious?
I'm looking to date somebody so we can sleep platonically next to each other and I can have the rent I pay.
So an inflationship.
I don't know about y'all guys, but it sounds way sexy to me to saying, for a wedding gift, we got each other a 3 to 4 unit instead of spending $30,000-$40,000 on a wedding in order to appease other motherfuckers who only come in and eat, drink, and see us get married for one day. Stop falling into the trap of thinking that you need to buy a house first. Guys, please don't waste your first time home buying purchase. So instead of putting both of y'all name on a mortgage for that home that y'all is about to buy, do this instead. Y'all should be working together as a team. So y'all should be helping each other get out of debt first. That should be the very first thing y'all should do before y'all get married. Then I will build each other's credit up. So I would have good credit and she would have good credit. Then I'm thinking the long-term play. I'm going to give me a 3 to 4 unit building because with the FHA program, it's way cheaper to get your first 3 to 4 unit instead of buying a house. And I'm going to put that 3 to 4 unit under my name. Then we're going to get her a 3 to 4 unit because like I just said, it's way cheaper to get your first 3 to 4 unit with the FHA program. Then after all that, then we're going to get married and consider buying a house after that. I would rather have the long-term investing for our family instead of the short-term satisfaction of people seeing us get married and spending that crazy amount of money for one day.
It's really scary out here because with the way the economy is set up, I only literally have $200 to $300 left after paying bills. And it just gets so hard because... I'm sorry, wait, did you just say that you have $200 to $300 left after paying bills? Yeah. Then you're not struggling, you're just living beyond your means. No, it's not that simple. I don't think you understand. No. You've never had to eat broccoli casserole for an entire week. You've clearly never put a bill in a child's name before. I know you haven't. You've also never had to take out any loans to pay your electricity. You're not struggling. You are middle class. But I have 2 kids. You're middle class. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. You're middle class. But we're both in poverty. Middle. We're both struggling. Class. I feel like ever since me and my husband got together, like ever since we started dating, we have just been struggling on and off with money. Like when we first started dating, we were financially stable. We even bought a house together. Like we were both working full time, like him being in the military and then me working my full-time job. Like we were doing good. And then not too long after we moved in together, we found out we were pregnant with our son. And at the same time, we found out that the house that we had bought was flipped incorrectly. Even though we did have an inspector inspect the house, which we did report that inspector, but yeah, so it became a whole huge issue and we couldn't sue the previous owner of the house because he was also a military member who like went off to Hawaii. So we ended up having to fit the bill ourselves and pay $35,000 to fix that house. And by the time our son was born, it was not safe to live in. It just wasn't. Like there was so many issues, plumbing and electrical on the house, it was not safe to live in. So we had to go into base housing. So all of our basic housing allowance was being taken by the base housing. So then we had to pay out of pocket ourselves for the house that we still owned and was fixing, on top of paying to fix that house. And so for a year and a half, we were living off the food bank. So fast forward to a year and a half later, we finally are done fixing the house and we sell it. Luckily, we made enough of a profit off of it to pay off the debts that we accrued from the house. And not too long after we sell this house, I want to say like 3 or 4 months later, we find out that we are pregnant with our daughter very early on. And then we also get orders to move to a completely different state. Now, unfortunately, the new station that we were going to did not have housing for almost 3 months. So me, my pregnant self, my son, we had to go to another state to live with our family for those months until we could get military housing. So we finally get military housing, we moved to that state, and all during this as well, my husband went away to training before this. So my husband missed a lot of my pregnancy. Like he literally got me pregnant, then went off to training, and then not too long after that we got orders. So he missed a lot of my pregnancy with my daughter, which was very upsetting. But he was at least there for the majority of the 3rd trimester. And again, during all of this, even the moving process, we were still doing okay. We were still doing good, a lot better than before. But then inflation hits us. Gas prices skyrocket, eggs go to like $8 for a dozen here. And this is all right before I have my daughter, so I decided to start couponing. And then, because I was couponing so fucking much, we were financially stable again, for the most part. And we were doing a lot better. And then I had my daughter, and then 3 months after I had my daughter, I had to go in to have surgery. And unfortunately, my breast milk supply took a huge hit, and we had to move her on to formula. and we found out that she had a lot of food allergies, so she had to go on a special type of hypoallergenic formula. And then we started struggling again because all while this was happening, inflation was getting much, much worse, as it still is currently. So now we're back to just barely surviving. And honestly, I feel like as somebody who's a Gen Z, ever since I got out of high school, my life has just been up and down because of the economy. Who else feels like this?
So this is how inflation can have a really negative impact for people over the long term. So imagine a couple that are in their 50s, they want to retire in 10 years time, and they know that when they do retire, they're going to need about $35,000 worth of income to cover their expenses. Now, if inflation was 3% for the next 10 years, then they might be shocked to find out that when they do retire in 10 years time, they're actually going to need about $47,000 worth of income to cover the same expenses.
Married people are doing a lot better than single people right now, especially when it comes to finances. It turns out that married couples are experiencing less financial stress than their single counterparts. And this is especially true because of rising inflation costs, the cost of rent, and also the inability for people to have down payments for homes. So this may seem like a no-brainer to you because obviously, yes, when you are a couple, you have double the income, you're pooling your finances together. But now it turns out that the median net worth of married couples is almost 9 times higher than a single household. That gap has more than doubled since 2010, according to the St. Louis Federal Reserve. This news is important because there's a rise of single people in the United States, and they're feeling the financial burden of the higher cost of living and inflation. Does that mean you should get married immediately? No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's important to know that people are experiencing this economy differently.
You know, the worst argument, the argument I hate the most is when men try to say we got to go 50-50 because the cost of things are different now in 2023. Yeah, but the cost of things were different in the 1970s and the 1960s. From the 1960s to the 1950s, 1950s to the 40s to 30s, 30s to 20s. Do you understand what I'm saying? Throughout the evolution of the humanity and niggerdom, the cost of everything has went up. And the only time niggas start to complain is now. Just now. Everybody else throughout the time went and learned a trade, went and got an extra job, went and got a degree, and went and made that money. Nowadays, men are like, well, the cost of living is too high for the things that I'm willing to do to make the money. So we're going to stay here at this rate. Even though the cost of living is here, I refuse to make more to balance off the cost of living.
That is it for today. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and like, comment, and subscribe down below, and see you in the next video.